Which one of those isn't true?
TV.
2 extra ribs.
TP? 2 extra ribs.
Sous chef.
Which one?
Sous chef.
Sous chef. So you have 2 extra ribs and you live in a teepee. Right, Matt, beat that.
Alright, my name is Matt. I'm a last semester grad student for HCI. I did my undergrad in economics and statistics. I'm from Boston originally. My 3 facts. I prefer books to movies. I always think the book is better than the movie. I once protested on Capitol Hill, and I've never been to Florida.
First one. One.
Number 1. Dave does it, he prefers movies. Are you all saying that? Vote, come on. One.
I'm an easy read.
You prefer movies?
Always. You can't read Transformers.
Oh, I think we're going to have fun with you all. Yeah, there isn't a movie of Galata at 2.2, so I think there is there isn't a movie of the book.
What I mean is, if there's both, I want to see the movie. If there's a book and a movie, I'd rather see the movie.
We're going to walk you over. Okay, gentleman here.
My name is Will. I'm a master in English. My 3 things are I cook, I swim, and I'm unsure.
Cook, swim, unsure.
Cook.
Cook. Everyone voting cook?
Yeah.
Which one?
Number 2, swim.
Oh, it doesn't swim. Okay. Who hasn't got you?
Big
At the
glass.
back, right at the back.
My name is Brandon. I'm a junior outside major. My 3 facts are my name is Homer. I speak 3 languages, English, French, and Portuguese. And I've worked for the same company for 3 years.
Vote.
Same company?
Yeah.
Chris?
Chris Green. I got my BA in Information Science, HCI grad student. A couple of you already know me here because I've been around the water and the beast bit. My facts are, I am in my 30s. I love Doctor Who, and I died on the operating table.
You're not in your 30s.
First one.
First one.
33.
Okay.
And the third one, I almost died. I didn't officially fly by.
Oh, almost.
Almost.
I'd say nobody lies about Doctor Who.
Who? Down in the red shirt? Yeah.
Hi, I'm RJ. I'm a sociology major.
Yeah.
My 3 facts are I'm 21 years old, I'm a side-dive fan, and I'm originally
From where?
from Kentucky. My facts are for
Anyone voting?
First one.
no, I'm from
You don't sound like you're from Kentucky.
Okay, is that a compliment?
Bobby, you want to go?
Oh, hi, I'm Bobby. I'm a computer scientist background in biology, super senior. And my 3 facts are I have multiple tattoos on my head, my favorite color is green, and I think a clothing optional gun range is a
I vote for
Tattoos.
Tattoos.
I think a clothing optional gun range is a great idea.
Well, I think we're going to have to move on, unfortunately, but that was fun. Now, we may have to save the AI movie till next time. We may start that on Thursday, okay? I'm going to wake this little fellow up and show you the robot. So, the idea of that exercise is to make you all, obviously, feel a little bit more comfortable with each other because you're going to be talking to each other, hopefully quite a lot during this course. We will be splitting you into groups to talk, we'll be getting you to talk online, and I do hope some of you will talk in class. We will be forcing you to do that. I want to show you quickly these things. These robots are called Now robots, N-A-O. People on campus keep referring to me and saying, oh, you're the robot guy who has the robots. And I don't know an awful lot about robots. I'm not an expert in robotics, it's not my area, but I saw these things and they were so cute, I wanted to get some of them, but they're $20,000 each. So I wrote a grant to apply for $60,000 to buy 3 of them from the SUNY system, and I thought if I apply for $60,000, they might give me enough to buy 1 of them. And they gave me $60,000, so I have 3 of them. I didn't really expect that, so we've got 3 of these things that we can play with. They really are super cute. They're probably one of the most advanced commercially available robots you can buy. Good evening. They have cameras in the eyes, so they have vision sensors. We've done work where they can recognize faces and recognize who they're talking to. They have audio sensors, so they can hear what you say. They can recognize words and do something when they hear certain words. They have over 60 different little servo motors so that they have fluid movement. They have inertial sensors, so it recognizes when it's lying down, so it knows it has to get up. It's got touch sensors, so if you touch it in certain places, it recognizes it's being touched. It has sonar sensors, so it can detect what's in front of it. There's a full computer on there, onboard computer, so you can download programs and things for it to do. So we'll get him to say hello.
Hello everyone. It is really nice to meet you all. I'm going to perform for you today.
All right, so we're going to get him to do a few standard activities. First thing he'll do is a bit of Tai Chi, which is a martial art. He has better balance than I do. Okay. And we'll finish with the dancing, which everyone loves. Alright, so these little things, we have 3 of them. You may decide to use these in your projects, but I hope you do. We're going to do some work with them, play with them a little bit, show you about programming these robots. Now, a bit like Canvas, really easy to use to program the robots. It's pretty straightforward and easy. This is the software system. We'll be making this available to you. Obviously, you're working groups on this, but I want you all involved in this. But literally, here's the robot. I can choose, you literally choose behaviors from this drop-down menu here. So I can choose an animation, for example, to say hello. Just link it to the start, click play, and the robot will say hello. It's that easy. I can click a box that says say something, and I type in what I want the robot to say, and the robot will say something. One of the projects we've been doing is robot theatre. So, especially the English majors probably all know the play Waiting for Godot. So we've had the robots performing Waiting for Godot, 2 robots contemplating what it means to be human. You get the idea. These are the kind of things we want you to get interested in, doing things with robots. We've also been using the robots to give health information to children because they're scared of doctors, but they're not scared of the robots. So we've been using the robots for things like that. So, you know, come up with ideas of ways you want to play with the robots. We'll make the software available, play with it, download stuff to the robots. We want you to experiment and try things out and use these. Okay, well, that's about all I want to show. Shall we show the clip?
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Let me,
You do.
just a little bit. Have most of you seen this film? AI or artificial intelligence?
Sorry, pardon me.
So what we're just going to see is the opening clip. It's a discussion about robots, and one of the things that I'll be doing, I think my role, of course, would be to engage in some reflection on the assumptions and the preconceptions that are challenged or at play in the debates around cybernetics and humans and machines and technology and so on. So one of the things that I work in is how do we get different disciplines to speak to one another? What frequently will happen is if you just think about the university in terms of natural sciences, social sciences, and humanities, people working in those 3 different regions often have difficult times talking to each other. Most faculty tend to privilege their own particular discipline over the disciplines of others, and for obvious narcissistic reasons. So part of what I try to do is to find where there's common ground. If we're going to work with each other in more rigorous ways, we have to find a way of understanding where we differ and where we have some things in common. So I'll be posing a question here in terms of the course, just in several different ways. What does it mean to be human? What are human beings, or what is a human? And what conditions have to be in place? What conditions have to pertain in order for there to be such a thing as humanity or transhumanity, whatever you want to call it? So I'll be working with a series of questions, and I'll give you a more schematic and structured way of approaching these things as we go. But what I like about this clip, the AI clip, is that it begins by posing questions. And I'm fascinated by how we phrase questions. This is the example I frequently use in English classes, and it's a quick one, so I'll just stay with it. If I ask the question, what did Shakespeare mean when he wrote Hamlet? Okay, that places me under a different obligation than if I ask the question, what does Hamlet mean? Okay, so in other words, if I just am trying to answer the question, what does Hamlet mean, I may or may not have to consider Shakespeare's intentions. But if I ask the question, what did Shakespeare mean when he wrote Hamlet, the question obligates me to explore Shakespeare's role and his, in some sense of meaning, in relationship to the play Hamlet. Is that making some sense? So what we're going to see in the clip from AI is ways of formulating different kinds of questions. Now, Damien was talking a lot about projects. We want to have projects. Well, I'm going to talk a lot about this notion of a project and projection. It's actually, there's actually a lot of philosophical work on this very concept of a projection. And I'm going to talk about, following the philosopher you'll hear me talk quite a bit about, I'm going to talk about at least 3 different kinds of projections. A scientific projection, an artistic projection, and a mathematical projection. Okay, we might add to that list, but what do all those 3 things, 3 ways of speaking have in common? Some understanding, some grasp of what we mean by this term a project. Okay, and whatever projects are, they have something to do with asking about something, inquiring into something. And so I'm basically going to use a very simple scheme that I think works for every discipline. That every time that we're seeking out something or engaged in a project, we're always asking, right? There's that which is asked about. There's that which we interrogate. So I might want to know what human consciousness is, and I might study, or I might want to know just what consciousness is in mammals, and I might study different kinds of mammals. But then I might say, can we make a machine that's conscious? What does a robot tell us or teach us about the nature of consciousness? So there's that which we ask about, consciousness, but we interrogate different things in order to get an answer to consciousness. You know, so mice or rabbits or cats that I don't have, or your brothers and sisters. So, and see, it's in the interaction between the way we ask the question and what we ask the question of that we start to gain some knowledge, when we start to ascertain things about the world and the questions that we're asking. So with that in mind, we can go to the clip, because I just want you to pay attention to how questions are posed. The other thing to look for in the clip is questions aren't posed in a vacuum. Frequently, a question is a kind of response to something that precedes it. And a lot of the things that we do in certain kinds of philosophy is we think about, to what is the question that's being phrased responding to? Okay, so there's a quick
You just preempted the next lecture.
I preempted.
We've been doing this all the time. We've been sitting in coffee shops talking about what we're going to teach, and always, Patrick, fascinates me because we find ourselves discussing the same things from different areas, but artificial intelligence, they discovered trying to prove that machines can be intelligent, and ended up finding more out about humans themselves by building the machines. So it's exactly as you're saying, we've ended up discovering more about ourselves than discovering tough. Yeah. Kate, would you mind getting the lights, please? Switching the lights off, then we can, hopefully we'll have some sound. Yeah.
Damon, should I not videotape this?
No, I don't need to do this.